Welcome back to the Slim and Slam podcast. I'm Slim, joining me is Slam.
Hello, I am Slam of the Slamiverse.
The Slamverse. Alright, welcome everybody. Today we're going to talk about something neither of us know anything about, but we're going to learn right alongside you. Today we're going to talk about the Metaverse, NFTs, and all the things in between that probably don't belong there.
I mean, we can do that later, but what I want to know personally is, let's talk about the trip. We left off on the last podcast where we were heading off into the great beyond looking for a car, and we did come back with a car.
Hey gang, Future Slim here. The order of this episode is going to get a little switched around. If you want to listen to the story about how we brought the car home, listen all the way through the episode because that story is going to be at the end. We originally recorded this in the opposite order, but after going through it in edit, I decided it sounds better as a whole episode if we flip the topics. So, Metaverse at the beginning, car story at the end. Thanks. Returning to the show now. Alright, Slam?
Yeah. What's up?
Today, we're going to talk about the hottest topic on the internet. For realsies this time.
Alright, it seems to get bigger each time we come back to the internet.
3 letters
Something
for
captivating.
You. Oh, sorry. Do you want to say that again and I'll cut it?
Nope.
Shit.
We're keeping it in. Doing it live.
Damn. Alright. Alright. 3 letters for you. NFT. What does it mean?
Nuclear factory transplants.
I want to say close just for the bit, but...
Not so much.
Do you have a real answer?
I think it means non-fungible token.
That's correct. Do you want to take a shot in the dark ballpark estimate at what that means?
Something that I can't physically have other than a picture from the sounds of it. And people are paying upwards in the millions for these.
Wait,
and then you get a special border on some sites.
For sure. I think you nailed it. So...
Sick.
Tell you what, I'll give you the rundown of what I know, and I'm by no means an expert on this, by the way. And we'll kind of go from there. There's a lot of like fun stories that have sprouted from like this idea of the metaverse and NFTs in the digital environment. But so NFTs, non-fungible tokens, is basically something that is unique and can't be copied. And the way that NFTs are unique is they live on the blockchain, which is basically decentralized computing, right? Which means it's a bunch of computers hooked together. It's not one server stored somewhere, so if something in the blockchain dies, theoretically it still lives on somewhere else, right?
Yep.
But an NFT is just a slot on that blockchain, and it would hold something of significance or value, like a clip from a movie or a digital art piece. Anything really can be made into an NFT, but the real piece of the NFT is that token that lives on the blockchain, which is why it's unique, because every piece of the blockchain has to be unique. That's the way it works.
Yep. And
so NFTs have become quite the rage for art pieces. They got the apes, right? The monkeys, and then there was the kids, the punks, and then astronauts. I think were a thing for a while. But you get all these crazes. They make this big group, and what you do is you mint them like a coin. You get a batch of 1,000 tokens that have pictures connected to them, and then you buy them. Some are going for crazy high, and you can make them for real little. And the idea is.
All right.
The idea is that you got this thing that is now, with the metaverse buzzword being out there, that you got this thing that you can take with you into the Ready Player One future,
All right. From what I've seen of the metaverse so far, just some clips on Instagram and YouTube, I swear it's Roblox. I'll be honest, it looks pretty much as if it was Roblox, just from people being in the metaverse. I guess it was some way to log into, and I don't know. It literally looks like Legos, and you go around as a Roblox person, and you can drive a boat and discuss business there, as some companies are doing for some reason. Business. I totally don't understand it, but maybe I'm just old, and I'm only in my early 20s.
Roblox business, that's the way of the future right there. But yeah, so these companies are building the metaverse. The metaverse is an idea of like a digital world separate from our own, but yet we do, that's where we're going to do all the work, the play, all the good stuff, right? So the funny thing is, the metaverse, by definition, is supposed to be this one online digital place, but everybody's rushing to build it. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's backtrack a sec. Let's stay on NFTs for a second. I want to cover, you said about the borders. I want to bring up that Twitter thing because I think it's really funny.
All right.
The thing, everybody's argument of why you shouldn't buy NFTs is because you can, if I right click it and say copy and paste, then boom, I have your picture. Ha ha ha. That's very funny. In technicalities way, Owning an NFT is like owning the bill of sale for something as well as the thing. It doesn't really work like that. It's a lot of copyright thing, whatever. But so people on Twitter were like screenshotting NFTs and setting it as their profile picture. So Twitter, in a way to combat this, set up a thing to where if you link an NFT to your account as your profile picture, it will turn your profile picture border into a hexagon instead of a circle. It was a huge thing. All these people with NFTs were like, wow, I gotta get a hexagon because it shows that I really own the NFT, right? So what Twitter didn't predict happening or didn't know about, whatever, is anybody can mint an NFT.
Okay.
It doesn't cost any money. You can, well, it might in some places depending on what blockchain you use, but you can take any image and go mint it as an NFT. So what people found out is you can go screenshot whatever NFT you want. You know what? You pick any of the apes, you screenshot it, and you can go mint that screenshot as an NFT. And Twitter will turn that into a hexagon just like it would the regular NFT because it doesn't verify the thing. So they continue to give people ways to steal NFTs. I just thought it was funny.
I mean, jeez.
Checkmate, big tech.
Yeah. I was just going on Twitter myself to see if I can spot these hexagons. I don't really know anybody that would have one, though.
I don't know. If you search NFT, you could probably find one or two.
Yeah, I'm sure. I just want to see what this... I don't typically use Twitter, so I just want to know.
I'll tell you, Twitter is the best, worst social media. You know, all social media kind of sucks. It's a big cesspool most of the time. But Twitter, they can only say 140 characters. So you can scroll, quite a bit. And if there's something you don't like, you just keep scrolling, It's not a big post. You're not having to read through 7 to 8 paragraphs of why someone's mad that their cheeseburger got stepped on at Walmart. So it's my favorite platform. But, this is just one of those tidbits I thought was real funny. They tried to do a nice thing. And internet people are brilliant people, man. They're dumb, but they're brilliant. They come up with the stupidest ways to troll. And this is one of the best I've ever seen.
I don't mean to take us off track, but since you said that because of the internet people, the kid who keeps finding Elon Musk's jet, and he offers him $5,000 to stop.
Oh, I get too much satisfaction from it. I can't stop.
Yeah.
I need $50,000 to stop, bro. I can't stop. I know where you are. Oh, by the way, here's the way that you can hide your jet from me. Psych! I know about those too because I told you about them. I need $5 million. Man, that kid is a genius. I tell you.
Because I think you told me about it first, and then I looked up the article. Oh, and I just got so many good laughs from that, just because you could just know where Elon Musk is whenever he wants. So then it's like, okay, here, kid, here's $5,000. Stop. He's like, nope.
Well, didn't somebody offer that kid a job and he turned it down because he wanted to keep doing the jet thing?
That I'm not sure, actually. He turned down a job?
I think so. I don't know 100% if he turned it down or not, but I know somebody offered him one. But so for reference, folks, this kid is 19 and he wrote a script that tweets where Elon Musk's jet is at all times. And Elon Musk called him up and said, "Hey kid, I need you to stop." And the kid was like, "I'm not going to stop. I enjoy it too much." So then Elon decided that he was just going to let the kid do his own thing and tried to hide his jet. But then the kid updated the script to find the jet again. So now Elon's pissed. But it's just a funny little, it's weird. Kids are dumb.
I think it's hilarious though.
Hey, if the kid can make money off of something like that, go for it, dog. The world's your oyster.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I would want NFT money. If I had
money.
the capability.
All right, that's not how it... Never mind.
Am I not using the lingo quite right?
Hey, we got close. We tried. All right. So back on track here. We got to get back to the metaverse. This is the future, Caleb.
The future.
Okay, so idea of the metaverse, right? Ready Player One. Everybody's in the digital world. All right, we'll start on the timeline here. So Facebook rebrands to Meta. They're like, we're going to be the metaverse guys. And they come out with Horizons, which is their like virtual, it's just VR chat, but it's bad, okay? Just keep that in your mind.
Like I said, Roblox.
Yeah, if you know what VR chat is, VR chat's the like Giga Chad cool way to do it, and Horizons is like the lame copyright version of it, okay? So Facebook made that. And then a bunch of other companies are like, no, we're going to make the metaverse. So instead of like all these companies, somebody developing a backbone for virtual integration between like places, if that makes sense. So you get all these VR games, and the way to make the metaverse to me would be to make a thing that lets you transition between one to the next seamlessly. That to me is where I would start for the metaverse. But none of these companies thought of that because this is profits right now. Okay, so Facebook makes their shitty VR chat. Okay, and then Epic Games is like, well, we're a video game company. We could probably make a video game or something. So they said we're giving $1 billion. That's a billion with a B to make a metaverse. I don't know if they've made anything yet, but they're like, yeah, we're making that. Okay.
$1 billion to make the metaverse, huh?
Yeah,
Let me see. What is Epic Games' net worth?
They probably got $1 billion.
Is it net worth? Am I using that right? Jeez, I can't even use old language right. Oh wow, they're worth a lot more than I thought.
More than $1 billion.
I forget that they own Fortnite, and everybody keeps dumping money into that.
V-Bucks.
In April of 2021. The company is valued at $28.7 billion. All
right, so they got $1 billion to spend. It'll be fine.
That's a lot of moms and dads' credit cards that have contributed to that.
The metaverse will be built on V-Bucks.
Oh no! Please no.
But they're not the only ones. Niantic, the company that makes Pokemon Go, has announced they're going to make its own metaverse. They've pledged $300 billion for it. One that will be, this article says, one that will be an alternative to the original notion of the metaverse as a dystopian nightmare. So I don't know if that means they're going to make a dystopian nightmare or if they think the intention of today's metaverse. I don't know. Anyway,
make a dystopian nightmare.
Now
they're going in with the intention to make a dystopia.
Exactly. Microsoft, big Windows company. They're going to make one that's centered around work. So like going to work instead of, sitting at home at your desk, you put your VR headset on and, oh great, we're back at the office again. So much for working from home.
That just means more work for me though.
Exactly.
I have to implement that for businesses.
It's basically, so their thing is called Mesh. And it's basically, if you've ever used the virtual desktop in like Oculus, it's like that, but you have avatars for Teams meetings. So that's cool.
Oh, God.
Apple is apparently working on like crazy VR gear. So maybe that comes into play. So like all these big companies are going. And the only company who's had what I think is the right thought is NVIDIA. They're doing the Omniverse Enterprise, which is the thing I was talking about earlier where you just connect all of the shit to like one program that like lets you transition between the two.
Yeah.
Omniverse is the closest thing to that. So maybe we're on the right track somewhere, but I also don't have a lot of faith in NVIDIA to do anything. So
well, let's hope. It would be cool. I'll be honest, it would be cool. But these first stages are gonna really suck. And I guess that's just the way with everything. Like the first version is not always the best unless we're talking about movies. Then the first movie's always the best. But I mean, like looking back on it, I have VR and I've used the virtual desktop and I tried doing things with the controls and doing all that on my desktop, just normal things. And it is so finicky. And maybe it's just because my hands shake so much. But it's just, I don't want to sit there with a VR headset on to do work all day, personally.
Well, and I think, to be honest with you, I don't think the work in VR thing is going to catch on until the metaverse is a game first. That seems to be the way things go. There's two things that accelerate growth in technology, folks. Number one is video games, and number two is porn. Once those two things develop a technology, about 10 years later, the rest of the world uses it in business. So between those two things, one of those two is going to build the metaverse. And then step 3 is you're going to work from home in the office in the cloud.
Yeah, enables me to not go and do anything productive out in the world now.
But you already do that.
Oh, true, you're right. Well, did it again.
Dang. Thanks again for joining us for this episode of the Slim and Slam podcast. We're having a lot of fun doing this, as you can tell. It's an absolute blast. If this is an ad space you'd like to fill, please feel free to email us at slimandslam.podcast@gmail.com. With that being said, let's get back to the show. Alright, welcome back and thanks for listening to that ad break for us.
I'll let you start. What did you think of the trip?
Calling it a car is a stretch. It does move, it does have an engine, and it does make loud noises. That's about where the similarities end. The heat was not there, but I'll get to that in a second. Okay, so we get in the Jeep at about 9 a.m. We saddle up, we head to the gas station first because Caleb has to get gas, and Tim and I are hungry. Tim comes with us. Tim is one of our buddies, and he decided to come along with us. So it wasn't the full crew we were thinking it was going to be, but we still had a pretty good group. So we go in to get...
Call out the person that didn't come?
Dan? Yeah. Big Dan
Yeah.
was feeling sick, so he decided to stay home. And the rest of us went on the trip. So 9 o'clock, we shipped out of town, and I don't know, we got on the road and hit the interstate. And about 10 minutes in, Tim pulls out the aux cable, And normally you're thinking, all right, we're going to put some tunes on. But when you ask me what I want to listen to, I'm never going to say anything normal.
I agree.
So Tim goes, Steve, what do you want to listen to? And I say, I want to listen to hentai. So for 20 minutes, we listened to the audio of a hentai.
We just got on the interstate, too. We could have listened to anything.
Look, it's
and
the
we're
morning.
Listening to ASMR hentai. Not even a video. ASMR.
Hey, it's the morning. You gotta wake up somehow. Gotta get the brain juices flowing, get the blood flowing, and nothing gets the blood flowing better than questionably aged cartoon girls making noises.
Oh, there was noises. There was much more than that. Like I said, it was squishy. It's like you're stepping on a bed of Jello.
Yeah,
there was squish in there.
There was some sounds in there, man, that no human would ever make, no matter what circumstance. It was like a plunger being applied to a wall of Jello. That was kind of how I would describe that.
Yeah, that is pretty much exactly how I would think of it.
So yeah, music aside, we get on the road. We head towards Litchfield, Minnesota, and we miss a turn about an hour in. We've passed the exit we were supposed to take, so we continue on, and we find a new way to get there. But we ended up driving about an hour longer than we were supposed to. So we'd already been in the vehicle for 4.5 hours at this point by the time we get there. And so none of us are in a very great mood. This guy lives out in the middle of nowhere, which is fine. Half of Minnesota is the middle of nowhere. So we get out there, and I look at the car, and right as we get there, the guy pulls up behind us in the car. And the poor thing is just covered in bird shit from top to bottom, dude. Like, every inch of this car, some bird has done his business upon. Like, it was a business meeting of birds.
They were trying to cover up the questionable parts of the car. He paid those birds to do it.
I was trying to have a moment of silence for that cough. I'll cut it out in post. It's fine.
Oh, it was a cough. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I think you should keep it in there. Just embrace the cough.
Just embrace it. I don't really want people to feel like they're being invaded upon with my sickness.
I guess. If you feel like you're invading their space with your virtual cough.
I mean, it might as well be a crime at this point, right? Coughing into a microphone, it's a crime. But anyway, so we look at the car and we do the head to toe of it. I check out the body. Tim and Caleb are looking at the inside. We're looking at the underside, making sure there's no rust anywhere. And it checks out that, for a price, this car was worth having. It's got some aftermarket parts on it, whatever. So I go talk to the guy and I say, all right, I know you're asking for this much. And I throw him a number a little over half of what he's asking. The rust damage is bad enough. I'm gonna have to take care of it. The wheels, we're not sure if it'll make us home. And by the way, we didn't bring a trailer or anything. This wasn't that thought out. We just shipped off 9 a.m. We're like gonna bring the car home. No idea if it had heat or anything. That's foreshadowing, by the way. But so
should have been something that was mentioned.
He and I go. Hey, we live in South Dakota. We should be used to the coldness at this point. But anyway, so. He and I deliberate. We arrange on a price. He didn't want to move very much, but I got him to move a little bit. So I hand him the cash. We fill out the bill of sale. I'm still waiting for the title, but I do have a bill of sale, so I technically own the car. Not legally, but I technically own the car.
But where is the title at currently? Is he mailing it, or?
I'm going to assume it's somewhere between point A and point B.
So we did send it off.
Yeah, I would assume so. He wanted me to meet halfway for it, which, props to him, but I'm not driving 2.5 hours to get a piece of paper.
Right, it would be cheaper just to to mail it.
Exactly.
Because of gas.
So, anyway, we buy the car, we get the keys, and Tim and I ride it into town, and Caleb's following us from behind in the Jeep. And about 3 minutes down the road, Caleb calls me and goes, hey, you're gushing out blue smoke, which is not a good sign for those of you who are not car people. I promise you, colored smoke, not good. So there's not a whole lot we can do except get to town. So we drive to town, we get into town, and at this point we've realized the vehicle doesn't have any heat at all. The heater core is out, it's not going to keep us warm, and we have a 4-hour drive to get home. And the car can only go 60. So we get it into town and pop the hood and immediately break the coil on the starter.
No, the coil was broken already.
It was broken. Thing. We finished breaking it, I'll say, right?
So the wire was just kind of sitting there. But
at this point, we have a car that is leaking oil into the engine, does not heat, And from this moment until we fix it, does not start again. So we went on a little adventure in like, is it Hutchinson?
Yeah, Hutchinson.
Yeah, Hutchin, Minnesota. We ran around to auto part stores to try to find some tools to fix the starter and some tools to get us home. So we got a bunch of really thick oil, filled it up, and then drove home. And Tim and I ended up switching drivers every 40 minutes so we could stay warm. So it was drive for 40 minutes, pull over to the side of the road, get back in the Jeep, and like huddle for warmth while we changed positions. So we ended up getting it home, and now it's sitting in the garage. So we got a lot of work ahead, but boy, it was a time.
It was a time. Whenever we go and buy a shit box, it's always a trip. You make all sorts of memories with that.
Well,
like the
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say the funny thing about it was I always have buyer's remorse when I pay a lot of money for something, no matter whether it's worth it or not. But so we bought it, and for the first, I don't know, hour and a half of us driving it home, I was like, oh man, did I make a bad decision? It's not going very well. We're having all these issues. But it's funny to me that the farther we got along, the better the car ran, because we continued to like baby it. And then we hit like Worthington, which is maybe an hour and a half away from our home. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm feeling good. I would have paid maybe $37 for that car. I wouldn't have. Don't let anybody ever convince you I would have. But I was feeling more confident the farther we got along. But the first like hour and a half, I was like, oh no. But we made it. We didn't die.
We did make it. We did not die. You guys nearly froze to death. There was a point where breath could be seen within the car after the sun started to set. I was concerned when we got to Worthington that the headlights weren't going to work. I wasn't sure if those were tested because the blinkers don't work. The brake lights and taillights work, but blinkers non-existent. I thought I saw them working when we got into Hutchinson. I was incorrect because they did not work the entire rest of the trip.
Well, we tested, I'll say tested with quotations, we tested the headlights at the Taco Bell in Hutchinson. I had Tim flip them on, and I like covered my hands around them, and there was a light there. Did I think it was going to shine any? No, but you could see it, so it turns on, so it was legal. But, yeah, so nobody died, but that's what it is buying a shitbox car, man. You go and you question whether you'll make it back alive. So we had fun, I think.
This is true, because I too bought a Fox body in Minnesota, and it was driven back. It was not, I wouldn't say it was spewing blue smoke. It was spewing smoke, but that's because it leaks everything, as we found out. When I pulled the transmission, it's just caked all over the underside of the car. Which is fine, because the engine was going to come out in the first place anyway, but it is always a trip. Granted, mine was very unproductive in both shit boxes that I bought. Tim did a burnout in the 95, or the Mustang, when I first bought it. The four-cylinder could not do a burnout, I will say that much. We attempted, could not do it. It barely got up to 70.
Sure.
It's very slow, as
well,
you can see.
I think was this the second farthest we've gone for a car out of our immediate group? Because I know Dylan's was in California, but Kent was 13 hours, I think, for the Mustang.
Yeah, so it goes Dylan's Merrill, Kent's Mustang, the Fox body that I got, and then yours.
How long was the Fox body drive for you?
4 hours.
4
there and back. It was in the heart of Minneapolis.
Okay. Ours ended up being 4 hours there, but just because I'm bad at navigating.
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot to go back to that. I wanted to say that it wasn't my fault that the turn was missed. I had to put that out there. Slam is a good driver.
I was jamming to tunes. The phone was not in my hand. Tim and I were talking about something stupid. And the funny thing was, we did this trip on Saturday, right? On Sunday, I wake up and I expect all the boys to be on playing games, right? Because that's as it happens on Sunday. But all that's here is Caleb. So I go, Caleb, where's everybody at? Tim and Dan. Did Dan go with on Sunday?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the next day, after we did this like 10-hour adventure to go get my Mustang, the next day they go buy an engine in Nebraska.
Yep.
So they ship out for that early morning. They got back, what, midday, right?
Yeah, about midday.
It's a lot of driving for not done cars.
It is, especially when you consider that they already had an engine for their project vehicle that, I guess, like, when you look back at it, they bought a 2.3 turbo, which came in the Mustangs. This wasn't a pure 2.3 turbo. It was a Ford Ranger 4-cylinder that some guy threw a turbo on, and it melted a hole in the piston.
Sick.
They were going to rebuild that, put that in their drag pickup. That's not happening now. I guess they're just going to have another engine sitting around, and they went and got a pure 2.3 turbo rather than just putting the parts in the engine that they had already.
Well, I guess when you own an import truck, it just goes to say that you collect about a lot of engines that could go in the car theoretically.
Yes.
Fair enough.
And that's fine. I mean, us being car people do car people things, and owning multiple parts for vehicles and owning multiple vehicles that at least one drives most of the time.
I feel like as long as you have a car that functions in the summertime and a car with heat in the wintertime, you're pretty set here in the Midwest.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I mean, that's where I'm at. My truck has no suspension on the back because the leaf springs have punched a hole through the bed. So when I drive, it looks like I'm a wobbly penguin. But that vehicle has heat. And then in the summertime, I will have a Mustang that does not have heat unless I fix it for some reason.
I think it would be worth it.
We could also drive. We could also drive the Camaro without heat, I suppose.
You have 3 vehicles, 2 which lack the specific part for the Midwest in the winter, which is the heat part.
That's why they're summer cars. Easy.
Oh, they're summer cars, okay.
Anything else you want to add, I guess?
No, that was essentially the whole trip. We made it back after dumping a ton of oil, and it wasn't Lucas that you put in there for the stop leak. It was some oil with stop leak in it. And then you spilled it all over that header. I forgot to mention that. This man, he sticks the entire bottle into the valve cover to where you'd put oil in, and it spills.
Look, it was windy
all over the header.
It was like 40-mile-an-hour winds, I swear.
We were blocking you for most of the time.
I
get that it was cold. Your hands might have shook a little bit, but you dumped a decent amount onto the header.
Look, you can't knock my performance because it was cold, all right? It might not have been as big as it looked, but... Well, folks, I think that about wraps up the show for us. If you enjoyed the show, feel free to jump down below if you're watching on YouTube and give us a subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. Also, if you enjoyed this particular video, go ahead and give a thumbs up on the video as well. If you're not listening on YouTube and listening on Spotify, thanks for finding us there. We really appreciate that, trying to grow that audience just as much as our YouTube audience. If you want to fill that space in the middle of our show where we run a quick advertisement, feel free to let us know at slimandslam.podcast@gmail.com. Other than that, Caleb, anything to add?
I've got nothing. I hope everybody enjoys their NFTs and millions of virtual dollars. And if you would like to donate, slimandslam.podcast.com.
We have a domain now?
Give me money.
/ give me money. Sick. All right, folks. That's going to be the show. We'll see you in the Slamiverse next week.